In this video, we'll cover conditional statements and branching. In Python, we can do comparisons between two numbers, and it will tell us if it's true or false. Here are a few examples. We can see if 1 is greater than 2, it says that's false. We can see if 1 is less than or equal to 2, it says that that's true. We can see if 3 is equal to 3.1, and that is two equal signs there. It's not. We can see if 3 is not equal to 3.1, and that is true. It would be really nice to be able to run different code depending on the result of these comparisons, and that's where if statements come in. Let's start with some variable a equal to 2. An if statement is written as if, followed by some Boolean expression like a less than 5, followed by a colon. Then we move on to the next line. Any code that is in the indented block here will be run only if the condition is true. So let's print America. On the next line, we'll go back to the original indentation and print end to show that it's done. When I run this, since a is 2, it is less than 5, and we print America. If I change a to 7 and run this again, now a is greater than 5, so we do not print America, we only print the end. We can have multiple lines within a single if block, so we can also print Canada, and both of these will depend on the condition a less than 5. After an if block, we can add a line back on the original indentation that says else followed by a colon, and then move on to a new line. Anything in this block will run if the original condition is not true. So in this case we'll print Pacific for the ocean. Now depending on the value of a, we'll either get oceans or we'll get countries. We can also put ifs inside of other ifs. Inside of this else block, I can say if a is exactly equal to 5, then we'll want to print Mars. And otherwise, then we'll go back to printing Pacific. These are called nested if statements, and we have to keep increasing the indentation each time we add more layers of nesting. There's a slightly different way to do this particular setup, and that's with elif. We can insert elif after the first if block. Elif a is equal to 5. And then we can move these print statements around to recreate the exact same behavior we had before. First, Python checks the first if statement. If this is true, it prints out America and Canada and skips to the end. If this is not true, then it tries the next one. It says if a is equal to 5, then it prints Mars and skips to the end. And if you have multiple elifs, it'll go through all of them and check all of their conditions. And if none of them are true, then it finally goes to the else, and it'll print Pacific. Let's have a look. If a is 3, we print America and Canada. If a is 5, we print Mars. And if a is something else, like 7, then we print Pacific. Let's go through one potential use case. Here's a list. We'll call it LST, and we'll say that it's comprised of A, B, and C. If we want to remove B from the list, we should first check that it's in the list to begin with. So if B is in LST, then we can go ahead and remove it. lst.remove B. Otherwise, we want to print out some sort of error message. Print string is not in list. And then afterwards, let's print out list again. So when we run this, since B is in the list, it removes it. But if I were to change this, so that we only had A and C, now it tells us the string is not in the list, so it can't remove it, and we just have exactly what we started with. This is the first step towards controlling the flow of your program. Now your programs can start to make decisions depending on the data.